Hello. This is gonna be a video about towing trailers, so especially big car trailers and a bit of focus on Europe. Um, yeah, and trailers with inertia brakes. So first, why I made this video is because I found tons of cool material for on trailers way and how to tow trailers that were really good, but were more US focused and more Australia focused. Uh, but the markets, vehicles, and trailers available are not quite the same as we have over here in Europe. So I've found that it's not really good material that is really Europe and inertia brake specific. So, and what I'm going to be covering is those kind of, like you see mostly in Europe, like tandem axles that are in the um, center of the vehicle or center of the trailer, and yes, with inertia brakes. What I will be not covering is this kind of drehscheimer trailers that have a tilting or turntable axle at the front, because that's a totally different case and totally different on handle. And what I also can't discuss is this kind like of US trailers that have the axles set really far back so that you get the huge weight on your tow hitch, maybe like 1,000 kilograms. That's very nice, very stable if you have a F250 or 350 that really can take that weight. But in Europe, we're limited to little bit different cars that have normally allowed tow hitch weight of maybe 100, 150, 350 in the best case kilograms. So you really can't use this kind of US trailers where where the axles are really set in the back. So a little bit about my experience. I work at a company called Running Unit, where we make this kind of expandable shelters that are mounted on this kind of tandem axle trailers. They are mostly 3.5 tons, so they're fully loaded. They're 3.5 tons heavy, 7.2 meters long. And my experience in this company has taught me a lot because we modify the trailers, try out different systems, different axle layouts, a little bit back and forward, different assistance systems that we'll be covering later. So, in anyhow, it has given me a really good experience, I think, in how to drive and what to do to improve the drive characteristics of the trailers and the trucks combinations. And regarding license, I have a BE driver's license, which is in Europe you need for a brake trailer if you are above 3.5 tons, so let's say about more than 4.25 tons, because if you're under 4.25, we have in Europe this code 96, so some special thing where you can increase the allowed total mass. But yeah, with BE license, you're up for 7 tons total, the trailer and the towing vehicle. And also I have a C license and D license, so truck drivers and bus license. I have two, so that's about me. And if got curious about this product that we are making, just go to runningunit.com and find out more about it. So first of all, I'm gonna start with some basics, uh, some very simple stuff that you can do without much. First thing, if you like these big epoxy mirrors, get some mirrors, because if you don't see what's happening beneath the trailer or behind the trailer, that's really risky. Of course, if you drive the slow trailers, that's no problem. You can see over the trailer edge. But this extended mirrors are a must, especially if you switch lane on the highway. It's very dangerous if you don't have those. So first of all, get those. Um, Another very important point is to check the tire pressures. That's you might think that's like essential, but really people don't do that often. But especially with empty like these cargo trailers, You have them empty maybe weigh 800 kilograms, but they fully loaded they can be total 3.5 tons. And it's clear it's not the same tire pressure for the same loads. So you have to, when you're fully loaded, you basically almost to the maximum allowed. The tires have to fill the tires, and if they're quite empty, then or if the trailer is not so much weight, then it will bounce around with the full. So you have to deflate the tires again to get good traction. So that's something to always watch out to check regularly. As is, if you have not enough tire pressure, the trailer will float and will be not stable. Definitely not. And also, what very many people forget is also the tire pressure on the rear axle of your towing vehicle, because it's actually if you have 150 kilos or 200 or 300 kilos on the tow hitch, you're not like shouldn't have the tire pressure on the rear axle like on the normal driving conditions. You should put it also on the tow vehicle on the maximum so that the rear axle tires can properly cope with the weight. That's actually really important so that you don't bounce around, that it's good and safe there also. And one additional thing that I have recommended and I've tried out, and I only do it because, but that's some for people who really have, like I have, switchable four-wheel drive. Switch it to four-wheel when you're towing. It's a matter of getting from the crossroads, getting good moving, that your tires don't spin, but also, especially if it's normally a rear-wheel drive truck, when you switch it to four wheels, you take some load off the rear wheels, and that's really good for the general traction and also for the rear axle, rear wheels, because when you're towing like a heavy trailer, they have deal with the extra weight that is put on them, the rear wheels. Then they have to move forward the whole rig, so it's two strong forces they have to cope with. So if you switch to four wheel, you just take a little bit workload off of them and put it on the front wheels, and generally it gives a slight improvement. The fuel consumption doesn't matter anymore if you're towing anyway big trailers. So I would always do that. So that's a couple of basics to be covered. Getting to know your tow vehicle and trailer. So it's very important to know what you can tow, how much you can load. Um, so first of all, very important, what is the maximum allowed brake towing vehicle? Of course, get to know that what's allowed. For my Hilux, it's 3.5 tons, so I can drive any trailer that is in this car trailer. So as the allowed maximum 3.5 tons. Next, very important thing, what to really watch for and what not many people know, what is the maximum allowed nose weight of the towing vehicle? That's number 13 in the EU registered papers, and in German it's called Stützlast. So what it is, it shows how much weight you can put on the tow hitch of your car. What has the factory of the car allowed to do that? That's one thing. Um, the other thing is also check the tow hitch itself, because it might be a case where the factory of the truck has allowed maybe 200 kilograms, but maybe you or some company or the last previous owner has installed a tow hitch maybe with only a allowed weight of 100 kilograms. So that's also not a good combination. So you are limited then by that number, and then you should definitely change to a better tow bar if such thing has happened. So, and next point also important, what is the allowed nose weight of the trailer? Not only does the truck have a maximum allowed nose weight, also the trailer has the same. So you have to watch out for that too. Here are some examples where you what to look for. If you look at the left picture, you can see that this is the tow bar, and there is, for example, S140 marked. This means this tow bar can take 140 kilograms. But if you look at the bottom tow bar picture, you see that it's like 250 kilos allowed, but of course, if it's attached to a 140 kilo bar, so you have to take the 140 kilograms. So don't check also on the under the vehicle if it's all components of the system are in the same league. And also, it could be really that your truck can haul much more, but the tow bar isn't allowed that. And regarding the trailer, those are those two pictures on the right side. In the remarks, should be marked how much is allowed to load. I have one registration paper. There's 350 kilograms allowed for the nose weight, and also factory sign for the trailer, where it's 150 kilograms. It's under zero. It's like the total is 3,500. 150 is the allowed trailer nose weight, and then there's the allowed axle weight. So always to watch out for those numbers. Very important. So now that we know what to look for, we have to figure out the nose weight and weight distributions, which are very critical to driving safely or having like normal driving characteristics for a trailer rig. As a rule of thumb, I put here 5 to 15%. Of course, it would be better 10 to 15, but now I come back to the Europe. Because most trucks or vans that are allowed to haul 3.5 tons, they really don't allow for more than 140, 150 kilograms on the tow bar, many only 100. So we often, when we have 3.5 tons total trailer mass, we can only put 5% because the truck doesn't allow. If you're lucky, if you have something like Isuzu D-Max, or Ford Ranger, you can put more. Then you should go for the for maybe 10%. Then it's you can, especially I think the Ford Ranger has 300 kilograms allowed. So there you can really put the 10%, and you will have probably a very stable, very good ride. And important, it's to measure it to really actually get some scale that can take up to 300 kilos and a stick and put the trailer in a horizontal position and just measure what actually is and adjust if you can adjust according to stay in the allowed. But I would stay always on the maximum side of the allowed nose weight to have the best driving characteristics. And next one, if you have figured that out, you have like we tested your cargo or with some spare wheels or something, the optimal weight. Then the rest of the weight, what you additionally need to load, always try to put it on the axles, directly on the axles, not so much in front because you increase too much the nose weight, and definitely not in the back as it will get unstable if the weight is behind the axles on a trailer. Yeah. And also another thing that's a little bit overlooked, don't have on the left or right side the weight extremes. Also try to also on the center. And one other thing that I personally have found that especially with these pickup trucks like I drive, it makes sense if to load a little bit weight in your bed or in the truck bed, or if you're towing with a van, to have just a little bit extra mass. So if you can take something out of the trailer, you should take it out of the trailer and put it on your towing vehicle, because this gives more weight to the towing vehicle. This means you are more stable in a towing vehicle, and the ratio of weight of the trailer and weight of the truck or van does improve. The van gets more heavy, so the trailer has a lot of less influence over the towing vehicle, and the whole comes again more stable. But always careful to watch out that the total allowed road train mass or combination of the vehicle and trailer mass, that you don't exceed that when you just add more weight to the towing vehicle. But for me, for example, I put some pallets, pallet with metal parts in my truck bed when I have long roads to do, and it makes quite a difference in stability when towing. Yeah, because also I drove tow with a Hilux, which is empty, only 2.3 tons. So adding 200 kilos extra, yeah, that improves a lot the stability. Yeah, I made just some very simple illustrations where to put the weight and where not to. Uh, yeah, red, don't put there when possible. Green, put just there, but keep in mind that you need for the watch out for the um, optimal tow nose, tow hitch weight. So a little bit also about the technical features that you can use. We in our company, for example, have decided to use a standard anti-twister couplings or anti-sway couplings from Knot KS35, but there's others from Alco and so on. They're definitely worth the money. And how do they work? They work like this way, like they're combined actually two couplings in one setup. First, it's like you just put it over the tow ball and it locks itself, and then you press really hard on the lever and put some pressure on the tow ball. So it works like this way. It has inside some small brake pads, and they use friction braking around the tow ball. So the trailer grabs really tightly around the tow ball, so it's not anymore a loose connection. It's like a tight connection. It still can move, but it's always with friction, so this avoids some spontaneous movement of the trailer, or not avoids, it reduces. It reduces and it gives much more stable driving characteristics, and yeah, you just feel safer with it, and you are safer definitely with it. But keep in mind that it has brake pads, so you really have to check those and replace those when they are worn out. So, but definitely worse. And you see the price; it's not that big, in 426 euros including VAT. So I think it's a very cheap upgrade. Other thing is to have ESP on the trailers. Um, or on the vehicle. It's also a great plus if you have it on the vehicle, that the vehicle ESP detects that you got trailer sway and tries to compensate with the brakes left by rapidly braking the left or right side to get again straight. Um, so that's also not so expensive, about 1,000 euros out those systems, and they work on just that's the driver. So if you have a truck or car that has those, great. But if you don't have, but my experience, my Hilux has this. And to be honest, I had trailer sway and it didn't work. So there's the next thing is uh, to have the ESP on a trailer. This works a little bit differently. It's like a system that is mounted under the trailer, and it has some electro lever, I would guess. And when it detects that the trailer starts to sway, it just pulls the trailer brakes, and that for the rig gets stable. It stabilizes it. So, but that's yeah, if you already have the problem, then it corrects it. But it's of course better not to get into a situation where the trailer sway occurs. So, but that's a possibility to save your trailer and save your potential life or your health. So also worth the investment. So another thing is a couple of things to have is most trailers don't come from the factory with added gas struts like you see in the left up corner. So it would be really nice to add those, because normally you have the torsion or the leaf springs, but the gas springs will provide extra traction and make sure that the trailer rides more stable and the wheel stays more on the ground where it's supposed to be. So making the driving comfort and safety again better, and also not very expensive. Those cost about 40 euros a piece. So if you have the possibility, ask your dealer if you don't have those, to if it's possible to retrofit them. So also gives a much better ride and better yeah, better driving properties again. So Another thing is height adjustable tow hitches. So very important actually to have the trailer, if you have 2 axles or 3 axles, to keep the trailer also level so that you don't overload maybe your vehicle, um, or don't overstress, for example, the first axle if it's too low. So the both axles should be like equally uh, worn out, or yeah. So it's very important to have the correct, to have it more or less level. So there are a couple of options. You can use adapter plates if you have like this kind of tow bar where you can fit those. I have something similar, not like the 5 adjustments, but also if you don't have this kind, I think most professional tow bar installers will feature also those tow ball attachments with different heights. So I think there is a possibility, even with that case, to adjust it if it's really like doesn't isn't equal. Another thing is to add for Northern Europe, especially if in Northern Europe and winter and ice, add winter tires. That's in winter a huge improvement. I know it's a hassle to change it every year or twice a year, but it's definitely worth if in the Northern Europe. The M plus S, my experience, they on snow and ice, it's like with driving with plastic. So it's definitely worth changing all to the tires if you're in the north, yeah, drive in Northern Europe. It's a huge improvement again. What to watch out for while driving? So let's say you have done everything, you have your weight distribution set up right. So and on. So what is next? Correct speed. If it's still unstable, then drive slowly. Don't go for the 90 kilometers per hour or more 100 kilometers per hour. Drive there where it's really safe and stable. The trailer. But still, there are some things to watch out. It's downhill sections because the trailer will try to overtake the towing vehicle if it's a wrong downhill. So uh, it's good to take the foot off the gas already before you start the long downhill pass and just see if it's stable and so on. Because if you start to sway on downhill, then it's already much harder to. Then you have to just hope it will correct itself back. So big downhill section, watch out. Always careful. Be extra alert when you enter a big downhill section. Uh, Watch out for curves that switch direction. That's my trailer sway experience. If I had even on low speed, but really left, right, it got to a resonance frequency and it started to sway and was not nice. So also on those bendy S curves, it's worth lowering the speed before you get. And overtaking lorries, so probably you won't be overtaking lorries, but some lorries will be overtaking you. The first they push the air, big air pocket in front of you, and then it's like a vacuum that sucks. So then you just have to be alert and focused and not overreact when that happens, and focused and holding the steering wheel tightly, and yeah, hoping that it will just pass. But it probably will. But that's something to watch for, that you're prepared when you see it in the extension mirrors that a lorry starts to overtake, that you're like prepared that this will shake a little bit. So that was my towing tips. Small, very quick summary. I hope you find this somewhat helpful. If you have more suggestions or something which you think I got wrong, feel free to put it in the comments. I will definitely read it and see what can be added or what can I add to my know-how in towing. So, yeah, hope this was helpful. Okay, bye.